Hey guys, so I did what probably everybody would consider the impossible. At least close to. Because let me tell you something. What I did, it was a it was a ride. And I mean a serious ride. I pretty much broke the one source code that everyone was trying to build. And I finally did it. And a lot of people were like, you know what? A lot of people were like, no one knew how to do it, no one knew how to build it, no one knew how it works. No one could figure it out. It was a bunch of old codes from run 2.70 or 2.7.0, some shit like that. And I one day, the one day that because I was gonna hop back on, and I'm like, I was looking for certain things, and that was the one thing I was looking for. And I realized, well, they took it all down. And so I was like, all right, you know what? So I was looking around. Then I found an open source Razor. I was like, all right, this is not what I'm looking for. I think this is just a launcher for the client. It's just a way to get into the client. Well, I did some more digging, and I found the Orion master source. And I was like, wait a minute, this is not an open source. So I grabbed it. I grabbed the copy, and I did what everybody else gave up on, and that was to build OrionUO. And as you can tell, it is 100% working. There's the launch. Everything's working. I go to launch, and I will go into my server right now to show everybody that, hey, it is actually working. Now, it was a project. It took me 5.5 days to complete. And as you can tell, I already have a QC of bounding already. As you can tell, I can't mount it yet, but that's no big deal. Over here, I spawned the Devour Souls, and look at there's my 2 psychotic dragons that I decided to spawn to see how much chaos it caused. But of course, they're already gonna start going after him. Blah blah, whatever. I also, as you can tell, I do have the black box. This is a really awesome tool. It really helps a lot, especially for creating. If you really want to get into like deving and like really make your server pop. I grabbed it, wanted to make sure it worked, which it surely does on so many levels. When I first did this, when I first grabbed the source, I didn't know what I was getting myself into. I really didn't. I looked at it and I'm just like, oh my god, what the fuck? Because here's the thing, guys. Orion was built on Linux, and so you're trying to mess with a Linux source, which everything was coded in Linux. So, and here's the thing: in order to run it, you had to run it through Linux. So I had to basically run a Linux PowerShell going into a Windows system. So that was not fun. That was a royal pain. I mean, I had so many errors. There was so much mishap, so many errors, so much things going on. I went through a few things, realized, okay, this is okay, so what am I missing here? And the one thing I was missing was the fact that you need 2 clients to run it. This is the thing that no one knew about. In order to run Orion, you need 2 clients. One, you need your classic client, the one from UO.com. Then you need to find a second client that is going to work with your either ServeUO, RunUO, or whatever you're working with, whatever open source you're working with. You got to make sure that your open source is going to work with the client. Because what EA did was they changed all the ClearLake files, they changed everything around. So a lot of people were like, whoa, what's going on here? So after they did that, everything went down. Razor started going down. They stripped Orion completely gone. And I was like, you know what? I was looking through, searching through. I was doing a lot of digging, and then I found this, and I was like, you know what? I was like, I'm gonna see what's going on with it. Sure enough, everything was wrong with it. Scripts weren't working. Everything was bugged out. Everything was really messed up. Well, I went through between Visual Studios because you had to go through that. In order to build it, you had to go through Visual Studios. There was no other way to do it. Then you had to literally put in coding from Linux inside of a Windows platform. That wasn't fun. That was a real pain in the ass. So what I'm basically going to show you exactly how I got this to run with my server. Starting with the clients. So if I go here, I go to my C drive, and I go here, and I want to show you what I mean, because I do have two different clients. This client is a very old client. This is a very old client, and as you can tell, it's a very old client because it's 7.0.102. Now, it's not that old of a client. It's 11 builds under than what the new build is. Okay, 11 builds under. Now, I'm not sure when EA decided to do their patching or whatever, but whatever they did after they patched up to the new UOP files with their product version of 7.0.113, I was like, alright, what's going on here? So, I had to download, of course, this client. Now, in order to get OrionUO to work, in order for it to actually work, you need both of these clients. This client goes to my server. This client goes to Orion. Now, Orion uses this server, but still reads off of this one. And I want to tell you why. Once you put your personal server into OrionUO, okay, your personal, whatever your IP is, you put that into Orion. That's the IP that Orion is going to read. It's going to read off your personal IP address. Okay, that's how it works. So, you got three things. One, classic client. Two, even classic client. Then Orion. So now, Orion, you have to take from, you got to match it to the classic client that is from UO.com. Find another client that's older than that your server will attach to, and then you attach Orion strictly to the new classic client. So, like I said, you got two clients that you need to attach to. Well, it's not two clients, but it's reading two clients. So, first client is classic UO 7.113.0, and whatever older client you're using to back up your server. Because here's the thing. VNX and everything is not reading the new client scripting scripts or whatever. Okay, so you have to have an older client. The good thing about this, though, is that it actually attaches to the second client. So it attaches directly to the newer client that you download from Multiple Online. Now, once you do that, you connect. You go through all the scripting. You see the scripts. And I'm going to show you, a couple things that you have to fix. One of the things you have to fix. Let me see if I can find it here. I'm probably not going to be able to. Hold on. Let me go to my build real quick. There, and like I said, you're going to have to do there's a lot of digging because, like I said, it's ran on Linux. It's a Linux program, okay? It's a Linux software. It was built on Linux. So all the coding that you have to figure out is through Linux. But you also have to remember that if you're not on a Linux platform, now you got to finagle, okay, how do I get Linux to read with Windows? Now that's the part that I had a problem with. Because Visual Studios was not reading these scripts. I had to literally go and do it all manually. It was such a pain in the ass. Such a pain in the ass. It was really difficult, really hard. I mean, it was such a pain in the balls. I went through so much problems, so many like headaches. Things weren't working. Things were just popping up, and if I fixed one thing, another thing broke. And I'm sure we all been through that whole mysterio. I'm sure everybody in the Ultima Online community has been through the, oh, fix one thing. Oh, now we got 30,000 red notes. Oh, this is cute. Okay. So it's just like, it's like, all right, you know what? Fuck it. I'm just gonna. A lot of people are like, you know what? Fuck it. I'm just giving up. And that's what pretty much happened. And I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna figure it out. I'm gonna figure it out on my own. I'm gonna figure out what I gotta do. And I literally figured out how to get Orion built, and not just get it built, but to get it working. And that's exactly what I did. And this video, I hope it gets around because it was a ride. It was. I had fun doing it. It was aggravating. I'm not gonna lie. I took a lot of smoke breaks. I took a lot of smoke breaks. It was such a pain. So first thing that you have to fix is there is a script in here that you have. There's a few scripts actually. I think this is okay. So I gotta find. There's a few scripts that I have to grab. I just gotta find them. All right. First one is your config. All right. This tells you exactly where your data path goes. Okay, this is the data path. Now, I'm going to show you what Orion did. Because if I can find what Orion did, then I can show you exactly the difference between what they did and what I had to change. And that goes with the CMake. Yeah, another one. This is yeah. So, and that's another thing. I had to run this in a different program. So I could not run it strictly through just Orion, okay? I needed CMake to actually build the OrionUO. So I needed 3 different softwares. I needed 2 clients in the CMake software where it was compatible with this. And as you can tell, there's a lot of scripting and a lot of like, holy crap, what the fuck? This is all in C++. All in C++, guys. I can give you a little demonstration of exactly what I'm talking about. Hold on. Let me go to my build real quick. Not okay, hold on. Let me go. Let me see something here. Where is it? Is this one? Alright, so perfect. This is the one that is not built. Okay, this is actually my backup. It is not built. You have to change all the. You don't have to do nothing here. You don't have to do nothing here. It's not that one. Let me go to. It's not the crash logs. Right, hold on. Let me see where it's at. It might be in here. It might be in here. It might be under here. Hold on. Let me see. Let me see if it's here. Okay. Yeah. So this needed to be changed. If I go take this one, okay, you can even see the difference between this one. Alright. And this is the thing. If you actually look at that, and you look at this, let's see if I can actually pin the tab, and then I can just try to. Alright, so there's this one, alright? And then these, okay, so these two are the same. These are not what I wanted. Those are not what I wanted. Hold on. Yeah, like I said, it's a mess. When I said it was a mess, it's a complete mess because I wasn't kidding when I said it's it's a very confusing build. It really is. You're multiplying multiple different languages. Well, here we go. Here we go. So I need to change this. I needed to change. It's not that. All right. Hold on. All right. Hold on. Let me figure out where the freak it's at. Cause like I said, guys, it's a lot. There's a lot here. There's a lot involved. Like I said, you can tell it's all C++. It's got Python in it. I mean, like I said, it's a lot, guys, and I can see why a lot of people were like, you know what, I'm done. And then I had this problem where in the build, okay, you have to pick at least one or the other. You cannot do both. So, if you're dealing with 64, with the Windows 64-bit, you have to take out the Windows 32-bit folder. If not, you're going to have so many problems. So many problems. Because here's the thing. One, you got two different bills. In Orion, only looks at one. But if you do it wrong, it will combine. Windows will take them both and combine them. So then you're going to have even more errors. I don't know how many times I had to start over because of this right here. This is where everything becomes a problem. And I'm going to show you in Visual Studio exactly the problems that I was having. So I'm going to go here. I got to go find. Let me go find where I put my shit. Because I'm going to show you something. So okay, so here's the make list. All right, this is what it says. All right, this is what I was trying to show you. This is mine. All right, this is mine. That's theirs. So I had to change all of this, the whole path, everything. Everything needed to be changed. This was not. Look at this. It's crazy. It's crazy what I had to change. It's insane. I had to change that. I had to change. What else is in here, guys? There's so much crap. I'll even show you what the build looks like. Hold on. When you're building it, I'll show you what the build looks like. When you're first building this, you're losing your mind. You are literally losing your mind. As a matter of fact, hold on. Let me show you exactly what it looks like. I've been trying to show you guys, and I'm just like, because there is so much crap with this. So much. And when I said I wasn't, I'm telling you, I was not lying when I said this. It's confusing because you have so many folders that you have to go through to figure out where you're at. Ah, here we go. This is where I gotta be. I'm gonna show you. Yeah, you see, this is where I needed to be. And this is what's really confusing because if you try to, like, it's crazy because a lot of people are like, they're having a problem. First thing, when you get a new build, Windows already locks it. Why? Because it cannot read the scripts. You have to pretty much tell Visual Studios to say, "Hey, look it, I need to. You need to build it in develop PowerShell." And this is where you literally have to build your system. If you don't if you don't build it in like a Linux form, it will not build. It will not. Everything has to be done in Linux. And a lot of people are like, and I can see why a lot of devs were like, what, this is crazy. It's just too much. And it is. It's a lot. But a lot of people are probably going to say, how the fuck do you have so much patience for this? And it's because I enjoy doing what I do. And I love computer work. I always have. I never had a problem. I love doing what I'm doing. I love to do what I do. And, it's fun for me when a lot of people are like, oh, it's a pain in the ass. Well, yeah, it's called work. And depending on how far you want to take it, is going to depend on how far you want to go. And like I said, a full working server, I'm still working through the kinks. There's some things that I'm working on. I'm going to be working on the Vita Next system because the fireworks system's not working, and I'll prove it to you. There's a bug in it, and I'm going to try to fix it. If I go with add and then firework, okay, it will spawn, no problem. So I'll spawn the fuse. All right, that's what the fuse looks like. Okay, there's the fuse. Nope, that's the star. I said fuse, not star. And there's a fuse. Now, it does spawn. It does. It does spawn. But it will not light. There is a bug in this script. And I am going to fix the entire. And I want to show you, Vita. I'm going to tell you why. Mans. There we go. And I'm going to fix this because there's a lot of bugs in it. And it is. It's very buggy. You can't move this around. It blocks your screen. You got to constantly do that to get out of it. It just stays in one spot. I'm going to fix that. And I'm going to fix a lot of things that are going wrong. You can see that this dragon is just digging himself into the ground. So I'm going to try to work on it, seeing why it's doing that. So I'm going to work on that too. I'm going to work on a lot of things. I'm going to just try to see how strong one of the. I know I'm probably going to. Well, this is going to be fun. Alright, I can't. So I'm going to turn myself into a player. Alright, that's owner. Go back to player. There we go. Nice. Okay. Yeah. Now you see why I called him a psychotic dragon, okay? Well, freaking 223 hit points in one shot, okay? Yeah. Yeah. It's definitely not. It's. Yeah. Yep. Exactly. It's a wow. It's a wow. But, fuck, I'm just gonna kill you. I am going to add a crazy loot system. There is going to be some loot systems I'm going to add. I'm also going to be adding a lot of new stuff. I'm going to add some new stuff with old stuff. I am going to bring back the whole faction system. I'm bringing back, and I'm not just bringing it back, I'm reinventing it. It is going to be a system that, and that's another thing, if you can tell, okay, a lot of the loot. I want to bring back crafting. I want to make things better crafting. I want to make sure that crafting is better than what you get on loot. I'm going to change the loot system. I'm going to change a lot of the things that I'm basically combining old school with new school. Okay, that's pretty much what this server is going to be. It's going to be a bunch of new with a bunch of old. the script. I'm going to make sure that the scripts work. I'm going to make sure that everything works. The main thing that I wanted to make sure that was working was the fact that after I built OrionUO, I wanted to make sure that it was working, and that's what I did. And I'm just glad right now, as it sits, I'm glad I'm the only one that's done it. I'm proud of myself. It took a lot out of me. I'm not gonna lie. It took me day in, day night. I was not stopping until it was done. I was busting my ass on it constantly, and I'm just glad that it's working. Huh. I hope you all enjoy this video because this is just one massive accomplishment that I never did. So this is one accomplishment that I just never thought I could do. And a lot of people thought I couldn't do it. A lot of people thought I couldn't do it, but I did. I did, and I'm actually really proud of myself. So thanks, guys.